A beef between two titans of the New York music scene hits the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Why 50 Cent was brought up this week during emotional witness testimony. Combs and 50, they've been at odds for a long time. And now, one of them is facing the possibility of spending the rest of their life in federal prison, and the other is not holding back or hiding the apparent joy they find in that possibility happening. This feud apparently went far beyond words. 50 Cent's name came up during the testimony this week of Capricorn Clark. She is a former assistant of Sean Combs who went on to become the head of marketing for his Sean John clothing brand. Clark rose successfully and professionally through the ranks of Diddy's world during her time working for him, which stretched between 2004 to 2018, so she saw a lot. Clark claimed that Diddy would threaten her, and she says he even kidnapped her in 2011. All of this matters as we build up to how 50 Cent kind of factors into what she said on the stand. Now, Capricorn Clark started working for Bad Boy after she worked for Death Row Records. Now, that's surprising, since Death Row was ran by perhaps Diddy's most hated enemy, Suge Knight. Clark said that one of her good friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and that's how she knew him. And in perhaps the most shocking story from her testimony, Clark claimed that shortly after she started working for Diddy, Diddy and his security guards took her to Central Park after dark, and Diddy said, quote, "He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me." It is an allegation that paints Combs as someone who is ready to take a life. But as Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, she brought up another rival of Sean Diddy Combs and another allegation that he made an ominous threat of violence. Clark testified, when working for Diddy, they went to a press event at MTV and 50 Cent was there. And just wait until you hear what she says Diddy told 50's manager. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson. He rose to fame in the early 2000s. You might remember songs like In the Club. You might remember that he was the leader of the rap group G-Unit. Now, 50 grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Diddy, also a New York native. He was born in Harlem, grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, just about 20 miles away. And even though they both had success in music, they both rose to fame representing the city of New York and the rap scene there, they have been longtime rivals. In 2006, 50 Cent released a diss track about Diddy. So almost 20 years ago, this goes back a long way. And in that diss track, he says, quote, "Who shot Biggie Smalls? We don't get 'em. They gon' kill us all. Man, Puffy know who hit that expletive. Man, that expletive soft." Now, 50 is accusing Combs there of knowing who killed his friend, the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace and Puffy were incredibly close, but Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997, and no one has ever been charged for pulling the trigger. This all happened during really the height of the East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry of the 90s, which involved Suge Knight, who we mentioned earlier. 50 Cent has also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996 in a Las Vegas drive-by shooting. This is Dwayne Keith D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive might get sticky," with a pic of Suge Knight in a car.
He is not a half-truther. He bears the entire burden. And the man he had been waiting years to expose was a direct target of that weight today. Did he? The air changed at the first word. There was no witness here. It was time to face up. 50 declared he had seen everything as he scanned the courtroom and met the jury's gaze, that they didn't know power even though the world believed they did. It's not Diddy's style, because Diddy didn't employ talent to develop his empire. He was afraid when he created it. 50 claimed to have seen it firsthand. He claimed to have once admired Diddy's swagger, success, and power. However, that all gave way to mistrust and then terror. For what appeared to be ambition was really something far more sinister. It was psychological warfare, pressure, and manipulation. He explained how Diddy rose through the ranks of the industry by manipulating strings in addition to creating songs. Not all of the well-known musicians in Diddy's network were only there to perform. They were bound by agreements, secrets, and unending favors. 50 claimed that there was never any celebration at the parties.
Who has a lot of names: Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and Brother Love is one of those other names. Now, from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have a
see it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all
it,
can't
man.
see that he loves me?
But see,
You really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, "After the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator." Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator. And she said, quote, "Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns." The prosecutor then asked, "What's the issue with an individual?" And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute, per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent. On Instagram, 50 posted right after his name came up in the courtroom, quote, cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun? I can't believe this. I don't feel safe," with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, "Oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low," sad face emoji. "I think I'm gonna hide out at the playoff game tonight, LOL." Then the next day he posted what he did that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, "Free Diddy," playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by...
They were surveillance. Was he not a partygoer? He took notes, measured everything he saw, filed it away, and used it later. He described the vault to the court, the one that kept coming up in rumors, secret film, private recordings, chats, confessions, and moments that people believed were stashed away, captured, preserved, or used as weapons. And he asserted that this was the real basis for Diddy's influence. Leverage, not hits or brands. Diddy knew how to own people without ever putting it on paper, 50 explained. It has nothing to do with contracts. It has to do with control. Diddy has you for life if you attend one party, make one mistake, or let one item go. He claimed to have seen friends vanish. Spiritually, not physically, fire in the eyes of artists changed to hollowness. Meetings in the backroom that concluded quietly. Obedience took the place of creative freedom. Diddy grinned the entire time, pretended to be mentors and family, but it was all a show. The truth is that Diddy was operating a machine that relied on secrets to function. He mentioned the freak-off parties and claimed that although everyone made jokes about them, laughed, and created memes, they weren't humorous behind the scenes. They were testing, setups, and customs. Those who took part were also noted, cataloged, and closely monitored. People pleaded to escape the circle, according to 50. But as soon as they made an attempt, smear efforts started after the video was released. There were lawsuits. Careers disappeared. He informed the jurors Diddy did more than just preserve his reputation. Others were destroyed by him. He discreetly and effectively destroyed your kingdom if you pose a danger to his. A pattern of devastation, but no fingerprints. He thought of one artist. Enormous potential. 50 had heard one of the best voices. Following a disastrous party, she attempted to expose Diddy. After a few months, she had gone bankrupt. She has a captivating musical style. Her tale became twisted. She was never touched again. She wasn't crazy, according to 50. She was devastated. Then the startling truth was revealed. Diddy didn't only do this to artists, according to 50. He targeted politicians, police officers, business leaders, and anybody else with sway that might be bought or swayed. He also possessed secret data that we used as money. Not all Diddy was a
then-husband Kanye West, Naomi Campbell, and several others who were all together to celebrate Diddy's 50th birthday in 2019. Fast forward to 2024, 50 was asked why there have been so many silent voices when it comes to celebs speaking out about Diddy, as if they're afraid to speak up. 50 replied in part, some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what the F is on the tape or what's not on the tape. So they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun. And then you got other people who look at it and go, well, that's not my business and I don't want to be in it. Then you got a part of our culture that says that's snitching or dry snitching. It's uncomfortable for me to say what I said because I've been saying this stuff for 4 or 5 years. Everybody else is not going to be as comfortable as I'm saying it. 50 Cent then alleged there's one famous friend that is aware of Diddy's alleged disturbing behavior. R&B legend Mary J. Blige, who got her start at Diddy's Bad Boy Records, has been a longtime friend of the embattled rapper and producer, but she reportedly has a great relationship with 50 Cent as well. When asked if Mary J. Blige reached out to 50, he responded, no, you know what? Mary never reached out to tell me not to F up Puffy, because she knows he does that stuff. As Diddy and 50 Cent have long been in the rap game, they share another commonality, and that's 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his youngest son, Daphne Joy Navarez. The actress and OnlyFans model was named in Rodney Jones' suit against Diddy, as she was referenced to as an alleged sex worker of Diddy's that also gets paid a monthly stipend. She has denied those allegations in a post made to social media, writing, I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. The claim that I'm a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney. 50 Cent seemingly poked fun at the allegation of the mother of his son being an alleged sex worker. In a post made to his social media page, 50 wrote a caption, I didn't know you was a sex worker, you little sex worker, LOL. But this would prompt Daphne Joy to respond to her ex again on social media, but this time would accuse 50 directly of rape and being abusive during their relationship. She would write in part, everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs for nothing? Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of raping me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time. Those allegations against 50 Cent would prompt him to fire back against his ex Daphne Joy and sue her for defamation. In his suit, 50 Cent said those allegations were unequivocally false and would claim she made the shocking allegations in retaliation after he moved to take Soul Cut.
Everybody had a price or a pressure point, and he was a collector. You thought you were untouchable because you knew where all the bodies were buried. But what happens when they all start crawling out? He asked Diddy as he gazed at him in the courtroom. There was silence in the room. He went on to explain Diddy's use of philanthropy as a smokescreen. Distractions include lavish galas, large donations, and ostentatious foundations. Behind the scenes, victims, visitors, and the unfortunate ones who had no idea what they were getting into were transported in the same private planes that brought celebrities to red carpet events. He described a whole event in which dressing rooms were equipped with covert cameras. Talented young people said they were getting fitted for shows. However, the video was kept for leverage rather than safety. He gave an account of Diddy's inner circle, those in charge of logistics, not helpers, employees, handlers, or enforcers, are hired to scare as much as to save. Maintain order. Keep an eye on everything you do. And those who cross a boundary were dealt with. He remained silent for too long, according to 50, that he was observing from the sidelines out of calculation rather than fear. He was aware of Diddy's strategy and what would occur if he initiated contact. He waited as a result. And now everything was just right. At last, the world was prepared to hear the truth. The last item he brought was a voice memo from someone who was still inside, along with emails, transcripts, and messages. "We're all prisoners," whispered the hoarse whisper. "Better rooms are simply given to some of us." The judge did not move. The jurors was taken aback. Diddy's eyes flinched, but he did not. Something fresh was betrayed by them. Fear. 50 got up, straightened his suit, and took one last glance around the room. Music was not the foundation of the empire.
It is damaging just to have anything said about you at this point, because you have people out there who don't believe your intentions, and if things are going in a positive direction for you and something pops, they gasp. He went on to say for entertainment purposes, they exploit that as much as possible, but there's no merit to it. But one thing 50 wasn't asked was if he believed Diddy would be formally charged and or potentially indicted for the many allegations he still faces. But attorney Ben Chu, who represented Johnny Depp during his trial against Amber Heard, says he does see an indictment coming down in Diddy's future.
I agree with that. I mean, obviously, I don't have any inside information. I don't think many people do, but I do think the signs are ominous. These are very grave matters. As you know, there have been 2 raids on his properties, and that's obviously very ominous signs for him. Although interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence, but still, these are very serious matters. So I think he faces some serious reckoning.
Diddy faces a staggering number of civil lawsuits for sexual misconduct, 10 that have been filed since last November. Former adult film star Adria English filed her suit on July 3rd of this year, claiming she was first employed by Combs in 2004 and was groomed into sex trafficking over time. In May of this year, April Lampros filed her lawsuit against Combs, accusing him of battery and sexual assault. 2 days prior to Lampros' suit being filed, Crystal McKinney also filed a suit against Diddy. McKinney alleges she met Combs at a studio where he gave her a lace joint, alcohol, then forced her to the bathroom and forced her to perform oral sex on her.
It was founded on suffering, and we are tearing it down one brick at a time now. The hush that erupted after he left the stand was more deafening than any words. The illusion of authority he had possessed was slipping through his fingers, the barriers were crumbling, and the truths were coming out. But 50 wasn't finished. The following morning, he came back with paperwork. Names, sums, receipts, contract that had nothing to do with business, and hundreds of pages. They were snares. Pages including agreements that gave Diddy control over people's lives, voices, and quiet, as well as stipulations buried in legalese. "This is what it looks like when power turns into poison," he replied, passing the stack to the judge. He revealed a system, a record label that was actually an empire of dread. Diddy created departments whose purpose was suppression, not promotion, he claimed. Whole groups devoted to burying tales, altering tapes, and keeping an eye out for dangers. The heads of those divisions, who were still employed by big labels today, were named by him. They had spent years feeding the beast and defending the fiction. He drew attention to a provision in the contract of one artist. Line 73. Any audio or video recorded during private meetings will be regarded as the executive's property, even if it is not visible. When that artist signed, she was 16 years old. He played a sound clip. "Control is better than loyalty because loyalty fades," Diddy said in a cool, collected voice. "Control lasts forever." The judicial chamber trembled. He described payoffs to shell corporations that were passed off as production fees. He disclosed accounts that were utilized to transfer funds abroad. All of it was intended to purchase silence, erase remorse, and maintain the illusion. He talked about the initial invitation, the handlers, the hotel, the drink, the camera, the era, and finally the message. "You're in now. Greeting from the family." The tapes weren't hidden for protection, he added. They were leverage-filled insurance vaults. Diddy didn't simply keep them, either. He disclosed them in private to serve as a warning to others about the consequences of betraying him. The voice of 50 remained unbroken. Not once. However, the truth in it had a harsher effect. It caused a wound that no PR campaign could ever close. He mentioned the hopes, reputations, and minds that Diddy buried, not the actual bodies. He stated, "You don't need a graveyard when your hands are clean, but your name makes others bleed." He examined the defense. "Spin this," he said. "Try, but the world is no longer blind." Additionally, even Diddy's attorneys appeared shaken for the first time. 50 resigned. The world watched as one man tore the mask off an empire, and the weight of decades crumbled behind him. Considering that this was not testimony, it was demolition, and all that was left of the appearance of power was a rubble. Diddy sat motionless. He wasn't merely observing it this time, though. It was engulfing him.